Only 1 week after protesters stormed the Capitol, the Democrat-led House of Representatives voted to impeach President Trump.
Representative Josh Gottheimer from New Jersey joined other Democrats voting in favor of a second impeachment of President Trump. And Representative Gottheimer joining us now live. Good morning to you, Congressman. How are you doing?
Morning. Thanks for having me.
So history made yesterday, Congressman, first president to be impeached twice. But I want to ask you, was it much to do about nothing if the Senate now doesn't act?
Well, I think first, let me just say, I hope everyone is safe and healthy. Yesterday was a somber day. You know, impeaching a president is nothing that we should take without very deep thought. And frankly, after the insurrection last week, I was there, the failed insurrection on the Capitol, and the president helped incite that violence, the attack on our democracy, and tried to undermine the vote of the election, and people spoke. To me, we had to act quickly and swiftly to make it very clear that in our country that's unacceptable. So I think it was very important that we took the actions we took to hold the president accountable. I think now what's important is that we move forward. We will have a new president in a matter of days. We must have a peaceful transfer of power. As you know, there are many threats facing Inauguration Day. That's what I'm focused on, is how do we ensure the security of that transition of power, and then move forward and focus on issues that are critically important, like the pandemic and, of course, rebuilding our economy.
There's a lot we want to talk to you about, and we'll get to Inauguration Day and the security surrounding that. But first, I do want to get back to Dan's point. Can this president, if the Senate does take this up for trial after President-elect Joe Biden takes office, can a president be impeached after he's left office?
We impeach, of course, in the House. It's similar to an indictment, and then the Senate has a trial. Yes, even after a president leaves, the trial can continue. If the president is found guilty, in essence, if the Senate acts, and if you look at what the Majority Leader McConnell has said and other Republicans have said in recent days, it seems increasingly likely that they will take that action to convict. If they do, President Trump cannot run again.
Right.
There are other penalties against a sitting president or a former president if they are convicted. And so the trial will go on. And so that will happen in probably beginning on the 19th or shortly thereafter.
You had mentioned a peaceful transition of power. The big question right now is safety and security for that inauguration. Can the inauguration on January 20th go off safely as planned outdoors?
It will. I mean, I was in the House chambers last week when the failed insurrection occurred, when a group of lawless thugs banged on the door, when shots were fired and the Capitol police officer was killed, when an attack on our democracy occurred, which is obviously was the grounds for that impeachment, for the president citing that violence and others inciting that violence. And we've since been briefed and had multiple security briefings with the FBI and the Secret Service and others about imminent threats of other domestic terror groups planning to come into the Capitol and try to thwart the inauguration and the peaceful transfer of power. It will fail. I feel very confident between the National Guard, which has a heavy presence there, and other law enforcement agencies. They will thwart any other attempted attacks. I encourage all of these groups to stay home. Don't face that violence. We must and we will keep Americans who are there safe and the country safe and allow that peaceful transfer of power.
Yeah.
Representative, we spoke to a colleague of yours, Richie Torres, the morning after the attack on the Capitol. He expressed how he felt unsafe. You walked us through a little bit of it, but I want to know what you experienced, what you saw, and how you felt at the time.
I still haven't processed it, to be honest with you, but I was in the gallery of the House. I was probably like you saw those photos as the attack occurred. They instructed us to get under our seats. They had gas masks on for us. They put the doors closed. People were banging on the doors. And when we learned they breached the Capitol and were about to breach the House floor, we fled out one of the doors in the top of the gallery. Everyone fled to a secure location. It was and obviously all those Capitol Police who I'm sure you've seen pictures of, all these heroes put themselves in harm's way. It was and to put the staff in the Capitol and our country and the beacon of democracy under threat like that, and a terrorist attack, a domestic terrorist attack, obviously it's unacceptable.
Right.
We've got to figure out what happened and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Congressman, you mentioned imminent threats regarding inauguration, but leading up to the insurrection here at the Capitol, your colleague, Mikey Sherrill, recently released a video stating that tours were given the day before the attack. I want you to take a listen and then get your take.
I also intend to see that those members of Congress who embedded him, those members of Congress who had groups coming through the Capitol that I saw on January 5th, a reconnaissance for the next day, those members of Congress that incited this violent crowd, those members of Congress that attempted to help our president undermine our democracy. I'm going to see that they're held accountable.
She calls it a reconnaissance. Is there any proof? Do you have names of other Congress members who may have been involved here?
I don't, and I hope to God that none were involved. You know, it is highly unusual, as Mikey pointed out, to have a tour in these days right now because the Capitol is closed given COVID to visitors to prevent the spread. So that's highly unusual to have a tour. I don't know who gave those tours, and you know, I'm hoping that no member of Congress was part of the failed insurrection. But you know, we will have to get to the facts and get to the bottom of that.
Do you think those tours happened? Did you see any of them?
I didn't directly see any tours that I can remember. I did see tours in the days before. I don't remember a tour the day before, but again, it'd be unusual to see a tour right now. There's very few of them, unless it's someone's family that's in town, or you know. But I haven't seen many tours, so I'd obviously, like Mikey, like to get to the bottom of that immediately and find out if there was a tour, to who they give a tour to and why were they giving a tour, and obviously if a member of Congress was involved in any way in the insurrection, they will have to be swiftly held accountable for that.
All right, Congressman, thank you for your time and all the information you provided today. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Stay safe.